Who are you?
Hi, I'm Jim Hannon.
I don't say your last name.
Oh,
You don't put last
cut that
names
off,
on
sorry.
Instagram. All right, first question. How did you get started refinishing furniture?
Well, actually, my daughter, Kendra, she was doing it, and she said, why don't you try it? Since I lost my job to COVID.
But didn't you refinish things before?
I did, yeah, I do a little thing.
What is one material or one item you would never work on again?
No, piano's a big job.
You restored an old...
It took like 10 years to restore a piano.
a baby or a...
Baby grand piano.
So would you ever do
Antique.
that again? Would you ever do that again or no?
No, I wouldn't do that.
What about like your regular dressers? Is there
Certain
like
kind
a-
of dresser?
Yeah, a certain kind or a certain color you wouldn't deal with again?
Well, I don't do paint. I don't paint.
And you don't strip paint
I don't strip paint.
because it's too much work. Right?
Yeah, I like stain and natural wood.
What if you found a really cool mid-century piece that was painted,
No, I wouldn't take it.
no matter what?
Nope. Give it to somebody else.
I thought of one that you don't like to work on. Those super, super blonde ones. Right?
Yeah, like 1950s, they had the blonde colored furniture,
They almost look kind of yellow.
yellowish blonde. It has a very hard finish on it,
A top coat that is a very hard
top
finish,
coat,
right?
maybe a shellac or some kind of hard lacquer. It's difficult to take off.
Even for the heavy-duty stripper.
It'll come off eventually, but it's a lot of work. So
And
I
then-
don't.
And then you can't match the stain, so you have to.
It's hard to match that blonde colored stain.
So you pretty much have to sand the entire thing if you get one of those, right?
Yeah, you'd have to. It's a whole redo.
And that's.
So I try to avoid them.
Stop trying to review your
What do you
tape.
got? Questions?
Yes, these are questions from people on the internet machine that have questions for you. All right, so this person wants to know what stood out about this Broyhill that made you want to restore it.
It was. It's sort of a rare piece. I like the doors, the little inset diamonds in there. It's different, so
And this
I think it would sell good.
one's kind of my fault because I found it
Well, yeah, my daughter found it.
and I wanted to do it, but it was too much work for me, so I got it for him.
I get everything that she doesn't want to do.
Is replacing the entire top of the dresser an option? So replacing the veneer in place of trying to fix it.
Yeah, you could do that. You would have to do the edging. It's curved on the edge. That's a little bit of a challenge. I don't think it's really too bad. I'm going to try sanding it first. And if it doesn't work, then I might replace the veneer.
Have you ever replaced a full veneer top before?
Yes.
Okay, this person wants to know how to know if it's fixable or worth saving.
If it's structurally damaged, that can't be repaired, then it's probably not worth it.
Like, what's an example of like structural damage? Sagging?
Sagging might be an issue, because once it's bowed and warped, the wood might not go back the way it originally was. So that would probably be not a good fix. Most things can be fixed. You can remake the wood glides on the drawers. I wouldn't replace things that don't look original. It should be original looking. And carved wood is difficult and expensive to do. It wouldn't be worth it. Unless you're going to keep it for yourself. You could do a hobby fix, and just keep it.
This person wants to know how long you've been restoring furniture for.
I think it's going on 2 years.
You did it kind of on the
Year
side
and a
at
half.
first, like
Year
I
and a
did,
half.
until the pandemic. You got laid off, and now
Yeah, I
you
got
do it.
just a few pieces before the 2020.
And now, how
and
many
then-
do you typically have at a time?
Well, my garage is like, I think I have 14 here now. In a 3-car garage.
This person wants to know, do you sand and restain the entire thing usually, or do you try to match existing stain?
Usually I always refinish the top. I try not to sand the sides and the fronts if it doesn't need it. If it's an expensive dresser, then I'll do it. But then I just try to match the top to the existing sides and front drawers. Sometimes it's a shade or two off, but people aren't too concerned about that if it's close.
But if you get one that's a weird color, usually you have to sand the whole thing.
Strange color, yes, you'd have to do everything the same. The top, sand the sides and the drawer fronts, stain it the same color.
Do you ever change the color of them?
Yes.
Like if you get one that,
Yeah, actually I did have a blonde dresser that, it was an expensive dresser. It was it was nice and flat. The drawer fronts were flat. So it was pretty easy to sand it all. I stripped it, sanded it all, and I restained it a dark walnut. And it turned out very nice.
when you have drawer fronts that have the integrated wood handles on them that you're sanding, do you leave them attached or do you remove them?
If they can come off, I take them off. Sometimes they're screwed on from the back. If they're one piece, then
You
they
leave
have to
them
stay on.
Sand them by hand.
You have to sand it by hand.
Do you usually sand your drawer fronts by hand or with your sander?
It depends. I try to use the electric sander. It's a lot easier.
What do you think is the most well-made brand of dresser you've worked on?
Probably Lane Furniture. They make very good pieces. Drexel is another brand.
Bassets have good drawer slides though, right?
Lanes have very good drawer slides. Actually, Bassett has good drawer slides too.
But they're structurally, they seem to be a little bit cheaper than Lane, don't they?
Yeah, Lane is a more expensive brand.
What is the most challenging dresser you've ever worked on? Or
Challenging. A
Or
brand
piece,
name?
I should say.
Oh,
Do you have like one in particular that stands out that was really hard for you to restore?
not really.
What about the
I
burl?
have a burlwood dresser. It was completely covered in burlwood. That was pretty unique. You have to be careful with that. You don't want to sand through the veneer because it's very expensive to replace.
So did you sand that one by hand or you just went really slow?
I just went really slow. Some of it I did by hand.
Did that one, do you think, took you the longest to restore? Because you had to go slow?
Yeah, that one was probably a long refinish job. It was a long dresser, 9 drawers.
And you had to rebuild
took a
the
long
base of
time.
it, right?
I had to rebuild the base and put new brass around the base. One of the drawer glides was broken. It had a unique drawer system. The glides are on the side of the drawer, and they fit into dados on the side of the drawers. So rebuilding that one was time consuming.
But that one was really well made though, right?
That was a pretty good built dresser, yes. Very heavy.
I've seen other Founders dressers and they have those glides on the sides, so that must be their.
Yeah.
So
And their
those were
drawers are
hard-
very thick. Drawer fronts are probably 1.25 inches thick.
So were the drawer glides on the sides hard to repair?
Yeah. They're hard to repair. They're plastic, actually. So I had to make a piece of wood and fit it in there and glue it in to replace a piece of plastic that was broken.
What about for your regular dressers? Do you usually replace the glides on your drawers?
If they're broken, I have to replace them, yes. I have to make new ones.
But if they're decent, you just leave them.
If there's nothing wrong with them, yeah, then sometimes I have to glue them back together. The sides will split and come apart. They're pretty easy. You glue them back together and it holds very well.
How long do you think it usually takes you to flip a piece from start to finish if you're just doing the top?
Just on the top, it's probably maybe 4 hours.
From start to finish?
Yeah, if it's a simple, just a top, I can do it in 3-4 hours.
Okay, this person wants to know how you get the stripper off of detailed areas.
Steel wool, usually steel wool. Put mineral spirits on it and just rub the area, and it'll get into the grooves and take the stripper off.
And clean the
And it'll
residue off.
clean the stripper off, yes.
So should you keep doing that a few times then? How do you know when it's actually off?
It'll go down to the bare wood when it's completely stripped.
How do you know when to stop the sanding?
When I've got to get like a uniform color. If it's darker on one end, I'll keep sanding that end. I just got to be careful you don't go through the veneer.
Have you ever done that before?
Yes, I have gone through veneer.
And then
And
what
once
do you?
that happens, it's done. You can't fix it.
So you take it off and replace.
It would
the
have to
veneer.
be recovered.